All right, so this is Caesar, Rome versus Gaul, and going through a second game of it now. First game really came down to the wire. It was something that was decided on the final card plays. That's always a good first impression of a game. So this one here, I'm trying to pay more attention, make sure I'm getting rules right, and it's a pretty smooth playing game. I haven't really had any trouble with rules. There's a few things that are easy to forget. I don't think I did in the first game, but just reperusing the rules, I see where it's easy to forget how elite units like the 10th Legion could take potentially a step loss if they use their special ability for a reroll, and the result is a 1 or a 6. That's something I missed in the first game, but I don't recall that having ever happened, so in that respect, I suppose it turned out okay. Well, I just finished up the second turn, which is 56 BC. Caesar had a great first turn. He got a point for governance. There's a lot of action up in Belgica. So he only got the 1 point for governance because the Gauls were able to contest up here pretty heavily. He got Caesar's pass, and now in the second turn he was able to get the points for Germania, but failed to garner any points for governance, and so it remains to be seen whether the foray up into Germania was worth it, as it did allow the Gauls to put a pretty tight ring around the influence markers. So it's going to be harder for the Romans to break out of the encirclement, as it were. And every turn, 3 new Gallic tribes are going to be drawn out of the cup and be activated, and so the Romans kind of got there's a snowballing effect that can happen if they're unable to control these provinces before those tribal draws are made. So this is the situation again at the end of turn 2. There was a pretty cool battle in which this tribe here, I'm not sure exactly, is it pronounced Parisi? I'm not an expert on the pronunciations of Latin here, but I'm going to call them the Parisi. They fought a pretty tense battle against the Caesar's legions and was able to give them a bloody nose. He reduced 2 legions and actually stopped Caesar. It was a drawn battle because Caesar was the attacker. That drawn battle really was a game changer, because he probably would have gotten at least 1 governance point if it wasn't for that. But that really upset the apple cart for a couple of things and forced a rethinking of the final 2 cards in the game. So we did see some pretty interesting battle action in that last turn. So what's going to happen now as we start a brand new turn is we're going to go ahead and pull some tribes out of a draw cup. So I'm just going to blindly select a couple. We'll select 1 just to kind of show you how this works. All right, who do we put? This is the Pictones. All right, that's these guys over here. Now, you can tell which territory it goes in, which province, I should say, it goes in, because it's going to have the number 17 in the upper right-hand corner. And you just identify it with the 17 on the map. They're all numerically labeled. And you can put it in any space that's either neutral or Belgic controlled within its territory, within its province, I should say. Now, the Pictones and the Santones are subdivided into 1 province. So the Pictones can only go into one of these 4 spaces. So we're going to go ahead and put him in there, and we'll give him a town. And that's important because now there's another tribe that these 2 can cooperate together, make it a little bit harder on the Romans. So that's 1 of 3. Let's go ahead and pull another one out. Shake it up good. Pulling 1 out. We've got lots of tribes down in Celtica. And here's another one. This is the Lingones. All right, now this is an interesting situation, and this is one of the reasons why, instead of just simply controlling a majority of spaces, I was making a really deliberate effort to control all the spaces in some of these areas, because when one of these tribes is drawn and there's no eligible location for it to come into, it's got a couple of options. You can either put it up into the Gallic Council box if there's an empty slot for it. There isn't at current. or it has to submit to Caesar. So this one here is a 4-strength tribe. The Senones is a 5-string tribe. We'll keep him in the Gallic Council box for now. So this guy's going to submit to Caesar. He's flipped to his half-string side, and he's taken over to the submit to Caesar box. Now he can come back in a Gallic revolt. You can activate all those guys and put them in their territories, but they got to have a slot where they can go into. So as long as there's influence markers or Roman combat units in all those spaces, that won't happen. So the Romans dodge a bullet there. Drawing another one. Let's see what we get this time. Okay, now this is the only Aquitani tribe, and so that one is going to go down in Aquitania. Now, interesting decision. I could put him into any one of these 3 spaces. No Roman legions in the area. He could be a real headache for the Romans if we put his town here. Of course, he could be more easily subjugated when legions come out of Provincia to attack him. But I think that that's a good placement for him. So we'll go ahead and put him down there, and we can create some supply issues, certainly, and start attacking the control of these territories down here. That'll make things a little bit more difficult for Caesar. In this game, supply is an issue. You have to be able to trace supply back to one of your towns or strongholds if you're the Gauls. That's those hexagonal spaces, or back to Rome if you're the Romans. So that's a really, really important thing to keep in mind. And this is a very, very narrow neck of Roman-controlled spaces between the Alps and Gallic territory here. So the Romans really got to watch this neck here and probably have to send a couple of legions down to police this and deal with these guys. Start making some forays into the Averni territory. All right, well, that kind of gives you an idea of how, the Gauls can pop back into play. They're very, very slippery. You might think you have them killed, but if they only submit to you, they can come back, and they can come back with a vengeance at the worst possible time. Now, they'll come back at half strength, but still, all the same, Caesar can't be everywhere at once. And that's really, I think, the way that you got to play when you're the Gauls, is to realize he can't be everywhere, so try to create problems for him where he's not, be able to give ground where he is, and just play a really, really flexible game. It's a guerrilla-style game I think you have to play as the Gauls. So, gives you kind of an idea of what you got here with Caesar versus Gaul. New game from Mark Simonich and GMT Games. And just a little look inside the game.